This doesn't involve some policy disagreement. This involves an allegation of serious wrongdoing, something that the Inspector General felt needed to be presented to Congress, was squarely within the jurisdiction of the Director of National Intelligence, and it is unprecedented for a director to withhold that information from Congress.
Joining our discussion now is Tom Donilon, the former National Security Advisor to President Obama from 2010 to 2013. He has advised 3 U.S. presidents on national security, foreign relations, and cybersecurity issues. Tom, I just want to give you a wide open field here and your reaction to what is now 2 days of this story and where it stands tonight with the latest information that it appears that the information that is involved in this is the president and something involving Ukraine and some kind of promise. Those are the key words that we know so far. We're not sure exactly how to connect them.
Right. Yeah, Lawrence, it's nice to see you. I'd say 3 things. One is that it is an unprecedented situation. I don't know of an example, and I haven't heard anybody give an example of where a credible and urgent whistleblower complaint hasn't been shared with the Congress. And indeed, the practice is even to share complaints generally with the Congress. You know, if you're involved in the executive branch in the intelligence world, you understand that you have an obligation, a statutory obligation, to share significant intelligence matters with the Congress. Now, we don't know with respect to the details of the Ukraine story that broke in the papers tonight. If it's true, of course, it would be an extraordinary story, and it would certainly be worthy of serious investigation by the Congress, if not others. Point one. Point two is I think Joel Burnett did a good job of laying out the situation. We have here a situation where the whistleblower has followed the statute and the regulations to a T. He or she didn't leak this information. They didn't go inappropriately to the Congress. Therefore, he or she should be absolutely protected under the statute here. Second, we had the appropriate official under the statute make a determination. That official, by the way, is a Trump appointee, as the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, made a determination under the statute that it was an urgent and credible matter and should go to the Congress through the DNI. The DNI is obligated to do that, and he can make comments, by the way, with respect to the allegation, but he's obligated to send it on. And indeed, we heard today in the extraordinary letter that was released by Congressman Schiff that the Inspector General also concluded that the matter at issue here was squarely in the ambit of responsibility, indeed one of the core responsibilities he said that the DNI has to the American people. So it's an extraordinary situation. I think it is important to point out, though, that the players here have been following the statute and regulations appropriately to the T. The third thing I wanted to say is this, and we haven't really talked about this, and it's kind of I'd like to step back a little bit, what I'm really worried about here. It's a broader concern. This is also very important, right? We have to get to the bottom of what the complaint was here, and the whistleblower needs to be absolutely protected. But the broader concern I have is this. This is incredibly distracting from the intelligence community and the people who protect our country. I have two kind of sub-concerns here. One is that we have extraordinary instability at the top of some of our key national security agencies. We've had the Department of Homeland Security has virtually been decapitated. There's an acting director there, and I think there are probably half a dozen or more acting people in the senior roles there. We have an acting director of national intelligence. The president let go of the director and the deputy director. We have a new national security advisor, the fourth national security advisor. We've had a breakdown in process, and we have incredible distraction. When you have senior people having to deal with things like they've been dealing with this week, which takes all their time, they're not engaged in the focused work of protecting the country. And I can tell you, over the course now of 18 years since 9/11, it is not an accident that this country has been better protected. It's not an accident that the professionals have the focus, the processes in place that have protected this country. So this instability at the top, Lawrence, and I think you'd agree, the great distraction created here in all this chaos, I think is really dangerous for the country.
Yeah, I want to go to the possibility of the ways this might come out. And it seems like if the director wants to just continue to block this, it doesn't look like the law provides a way around that. It says that any action taken by the director or the inspector general is not subject to judicial review. So I don't really see the way around that. But they should all know that the polls are indicating, as of tonight, that there will be a new president 16 months from now.
Yeah.
And 16 months from now, there will be a new director of national intelligence, and this will be released at that time. This document is still going to be there. It will eventually, in the next presidency at the very latest, all become available to the Congress.
Yeah, I think you have to assume at some point that this information will be made available to the Congress. Now, I have not heard, as Joel Brennan was saying, I've not heard the administration make an express privilege claim here. If they have a privilege claim to make, they should make it, and it should be confronted. With the Congress, and typically you try to work through some sort of accommodation. There's a lot of discussion about this statute over the course of the last 20 years, and the thrust of kind of learning has been that when there is a dispute over the release of classified information, there would be an accommodation. It would be worked out. Of course, here we have the extraordinary situation that if the press reports are true, it involves the President of the United States and his conduct, which makes it a much more difficult circumstance. Lawrence, as you know, the founders have set up the system of separation of powers, of checks and balances. They have authorities and interests on both sides. The president has an interest in conducting foreign affairs and protecting deliberative materials. The Congress has an interest in oversight, which, by the way, the administration has taken an extraordinary position, which is to reject all oversight. And that typically has to be balanced. And, and we rely in this country on the good faith, the judgment, and the character of the players on both sides.
Tom Donilon, cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. You have been there, you know the weight of these issues, and having your input was invaluable. Really appreciate it. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.